Hare Krishna.
Cartels. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavi Adi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavi Adi Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dadi 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 Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamanatira Vanam Jadi Jamanatira Vanam Jadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hadi Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hadi Gopi Jana Balabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Balabha Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanam Chadi Jamuna Tira Vanam Chadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hadi Madhava Kunjabi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hadi Madhava Kunjabi Hadi Jayom Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajagacharya Astatara Satasi Simaris Divine Grace Sisi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Gaur Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 That was much better. Okay. We're going to be reading from Chaitanya Bhagavata, but I want to do three things first. One of them, all three of these are kind of lingering from previous classes. There was some discussion without a clear answer, going back some days when we were discussing the life of Madhavendra Puri and who was Madhavendra Puri before he was Madhavendra Puri. Who was he in Krishna Lila? You'll be very surprised to hear what Gauraguna Deshtapika says. You would never guess, so I'll tell you. He was a Kalpavriksha tree in Vrindavan. And a Kalpavriksha tree that was celebrated for bestowing varieties of devotional service in the different rasas. You want to hear that one again? The Kalpa Vriksha tree in Vrindavan, celebrated for bestowing devotional service in different varieties of rasas. Madhavendra Puri. And then yesterday, there was a little confusion that's now been corrected. The confusion had to do with who, let's see here. Yeah. Someone who was listening from West Coast wanted to know, why is it that it says that in Ramchandra Puri's previous life, he was Vibhishan? We went kind of round and around, and so then they sent another text later saying, whoops, here's what it says. The devotee named Ramchandra Puri in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes had previously been Vibhishan. Lord Chaitanya himself did not accept that Ramchandra Puri was an incarnation of Vibhishan. But the Lord himself said that Ramchandra Puri was the empowered incarnation of Srimati Radharani's mother-in-law, Jatila. This Ramchandra Puri restricted Lord Chaitanya in his acceptance of alms, and Jatila restricted Krishna from unrestricted pastimes with Radharani, Krishna and Radharani, Radharani's mother-in-law Jatila. So that's that clarification. And then one more, which kind of went around and around, and so I did some further research and want to report to the listening audience. There was some discussion about the sequence of one of the persons in the room had raised their hand in the question and answer discussion. This topic came up during our Bhakti Riksha class that said the reason for the Mahamantra being Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, was because Lord Chaitanya reversed the order of the mantra. Instead of saying Krishna, Ram's name first, he said Krishna's name first, because so many people chant Ram's name first. That question, I never heard that before, and I kind of freaked out. And then there was some reading from somebody's website that said something like that. So just a little report. I wanted to hear from those that are knowledgeable of the history of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Is there any historical reference that says that? Because this website says there is a story that says that. So is there any historical reference that they were aware of, or this scholarly historian devotees? And their answer was no. In fact, because one of the other reasons was that because the Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare is a Vedic mantra, and Lord Chaitanya didn't want to disturb the Smarta Brahmins who say worldly people shouldn't chant Vedic mantras, so he flipped it around so it wouldn't be a Vedic mantra. So one of the scholarly devotees said, Vedic mantras have some qualifications, and that there's a bija syllable like Om or Klim or something that's not part of the Hare Krishna mantra, and there's the I forget the Sanskrit term, instead of just the nominal case, it's the something something case, like Om Namo Vasudevaya. And what I heard, since little brahmachari bhakta, was there's a third. The Vedic mantras there are three things. Every Vedic mantras have three elements: a bij mantra, a nominative case, the name of a person, and the word that I was taught was pinda or namaha, like Om Narayanaya Namaha, or Om Keshavaya Namaha, just like we perform, put on tilak. Those are Vedic mantras. It has three elements, and those three elements are not there in the Hare Krishna mantra, which means it's not a Vedic mantra. This is how I was taught, and this other scholarly devotee said essentially like that. So why do we chant the Hare Krishna mantra in the sequence that we chant the Hare Krishna mantra, when many people out there in India say Hare Rama first? Because that's a question. Why is it? There's different answers to why is it. One of them is, some scholars say that in South India the Hare Rama comes first. This is the Kali Sanartana Upanishad. So consistently in our line in North India, the scholars, some scholars say in North India it's in the same sequence that we use, and in South India it's the Hare Rama first sequence. And maybe that's the case. I don't know. The scholar devotee said you have to go gather up manuscripts from all over India and find out if that's true. And I don't know who's going to do that. So whether it's true or not true, who knows, if that's the way it is in South India. But that's as opposed to North India. But in our line, consistently, that I did this research, and going back to our acharyas, it's Hare Krishna first from the Upanishads, and Lord Chaitanya used Hare Krishna. So however, some people say something else. Bottom line, it really doesn't matter. One, however it happened. Two, it's the same result, spiritually speaking, whether it's Hare Rama first or Hare Krishna first. So no big deal. And three, Lord Chaitanya said Hare Krishna first instead of Hare Rama first, and that's why our line of disciplic succession reads the Upanishads, and so that's why we say Hare Krishna first. And a story. I wanted to repeat that because there may be some people listening that want to throw some rotten tomatoes and object or something. But that's the research that I did, and it's not that what was kind of irritating to me was saying that Lord Chaitanya switched something around because he didn't want to disturb a certain group of people. I mean, he followed convention for sure, but he also didn't stop doing what was transcendentally right because there's some people that might not accept it. We've heard this over and over again in Chaitanya Bhagavata. I mean, like, for example, this whole section, he was having kirtan in Srivasa's home, and he personally locked the door from the inside so that unqualified people couldn't enter. So they could freely chant without being disturbed. And then he took the Harinam Sankirtana out into the public, and everyone could see. He wasn't like standing on convention. Of some people might be a little upset if we did it this way instead of that way or something. So that was what was irritating me. And plus, somebody said there's a story out there, and we don't repeat somebody said there's a story out there. So I'm sharing that conclusion and a little bit of irritation. Any questions on that topic? Okay. So how did it come to be? Could be many different explanations how it came to be. Why some people say Hare Rama first. However it came to be, it's really not so consequential. That's the conclusion. And our line and reads the Upanishad says Hare Krishna first. Lord Chaitanya chanted Hare Krishna first. So we chant Hare Krishna first. And if somebody else chants Hare Rama first, no problem. Let them chant Hare Rama first and be happy and be blessed. But we want to follow Lord Chaitanya and get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Okay. Chaitanya Bhagavata. We're reading chapter 17. The Lord's wandering throughout Navadvip and descriptions of the devotees' glories. Now, Jagai and Madhya have recently been saved, and there was some celebrations after they were saved. The demigods celebrated, and Madhya himself became again blessed by Lord Nityananda to become freed from his reactions. That's what we discussed. And the last chapter we read, the Lord's acceptance of Suklambara's rice, Suklambar Brahmachari, and now the Lord is going to wander through Navadvip. So his age is around 20, sometime before he took sannyas at the age of 24. So sometime between 20 and 24, but close to 20, most likely. He's a householder. The whole Sankirtana is really blossoming and hasn't gone public yet. All glories to Mahaprabhu, Sri Gaurasundar. All glories to Nityananda, whose body is the object of everyone's worship. The topics of Madhya are like drops of nectar. By hearing these topics, one's atheistic mentality is vanquished. In this way, Lord Vishwambar kept his identity concealed while constantly performing Sankirtan in Navadvip. When the Lord wandered throughout the city, everyone saw him. Who saw him thought he was Cupid himself. In ordinary dealings, the Lord appeared to be full of pride. Even atheists were frightened by seeing the strength of his knowledge. The Lord considered the Bhattacharyas, who were supposed to be learned in grammar, as no better than a blade of grass. In his own ecstasy, the Lord kept his identity covered as he wandered throughout the city in the association of his devotees. The atheist said, "Oh, Nimai Pandit, you will soon receive an order from the king. You will secretly perform kirtan at night, and people constantly curse you because they cannot watch. The curses of the people will not prove false, but will soon bear fruit. We are telling you this as well-wishers." The Lord replied, "So be it. Let your words come true, for I have a desire to meet the king. Since I studied all the scriptures at an early age, people consider me a child and do not challenge me. I do not find anyone to challenge me. I wish to meet anyone who is prepared to challenge me." The atheist said, "The king will listen to your kirtan because he is a Muslim. He does not care for scriptural debate." Considering the atheist no better than a blade of grass, the Lord returned to his home. The Lord said, "Today I have talked to some atheists. Therefore let us have kirtan so that my misery will be destroyed." As Mahaprabhu, the Lord of Vaikuntha, danced, all his servants surrounded him and sang. A couple of times the Lord stopped and said, "Oh, brothers, why am I not feeling any ecstasy today? Am I not feeling ecstasy because I talked to some atheists in the city today? If I have insulted you in any way, then please forgive my offenses and save my life." Advaita Prabhu, the great recipient of the Lord's mercy, frowned and danced as he said, "How will you feel ecstatic love when nada has drained you?" Nada means Advaitacharya. I do not get love of God, and neither does Srivas. You enjoy your pastimes of ecstatic love with oil millers and gardeners, meaning Shudras. Avaduta, Nityananda, has become the servant of your love, while Srivas and I are left out. We are not qualified to attain your love, while this Avaduta has come and become the storekeeper of your love. O Gosai, if you do not award me your ecstatic love, I will dry it all up. Then do not blame me. Kind of enigmatic talk. Acharya Gosai was maddened with Lord Chaitanya's love. He did not remember what he said or what he did. Krishna increased the glories of his devotees in all respect. They are able to sell him wherever they want. For one who can sell Krishna by the influence of his devotional service, what is unusual about speaking in this way? Gaurachandra increases the glory of his devotees in various ways. Who can understand his mercy and punishment? As the Lord lamented due to not receiving the happiness of ecstatic love, Advaita joyfully danced while clapping his hands. After listening to Advaita's words, Lord Vishwambar did not make any reply. The Lord suddenly opened the door and ran out, and Nityananda and Haridas ran after him. Thinking that there was no use in keeping a body devoid of love of God, the Lord jumped into the Ganges. As the Lord jumped into the Ganges, Nityananda and Haridas jumped in behind him. Nityananda quickly caught the Lord by his hair, and Haridas grabbed the Lord's lotus feet. The two then carried the Lord out of the water, whereupon the Lord said, "Why did you restrain me? For what purpose should I maintain this life which is devoid of love of God? Why did you two hold me back?" The two trembled as they thought, What will happen today? Looking at Nityananda, Gaurachandra spoke. "Why did you grab my hair?" Nityananda replied, "Why did you try to kill yourself?" The Lord said, "I know you are most restless." Nityananda then said, "O Lord, please forgive me. Do you want to give up your body because of somebody that you can easily punish? If servants speak something out of pride, does their master take their lives?" Filled with devotion, Nityananda shed tears of love for Lord Chaitanya, who was everything for him, his life, wealth, and friend. The Lord said, "Listen, Nityananda and Haridas, do not tell anyone that you have seen me. Tell everyone that you did not see me. You follow this order of mine. Today I will hide here. If you tell anyone, then do not blame me for the consequences." After speaking in this way, the Lord went to the house of Nanda and Acharya. This is 3 times. This is a hiding place. When Nityananda arrived in Navadvip, he went to the house of Nanda and Acharya. Lord Chaitanya discovered his whereabouts. Second time is when Advaita Acharya hid himself so that Lord Chaitanya could come and find him, establishing his omniscience. That's what Advaita wanted, so he could then worship him. Now Lord Chaitanya is hiding. So if you go to the house of Nandanacharya, we've been there when we go to Navadvip, there's a wall inside the temple compound area, and there's nice paintings of these three events. Here's the third. After speaking in this way, the Lord went to the house of Nandanacharya. Following the Lord's order, the two kept this a secret. Absorbed in love for Krishna, the devotees all became full of distress when they were unable to receive any news about the Lord. They began to cry with the feelings of intense separation. No one said anything as their hearts burned. Everyone felt as they had been struck by a thunderbolt, and Adwaita, the Lord of Shantipur, thought himself a great offender. Feeling that he had committed an offense, Adwaita Prabhu went home and fasted due to intense separation from the Lord. Filled with lamentation, everyone returned to their homes with the treasure of Gauranga's lotus feet bound in their hearts. The Lord arrived at Nandanacharya's house, where he sat down on the throne of Lord Vishnu. Seeing that the most auspicious personality had arrived at his house, Nandanacharya offered obeisances by falling flat on the ground. He quickly brought new clothes for Shri Sachinandana, who then changed his wet clothes. Nandanacharya offered argya and fragrant oils, as well as sandalwood paste and flower garland prasad. He decorated the Lord's body with sandalwood paste. He then brought camphor and betel nuts and offered them to the Lord, who happily ate his devotees' offerings. The Lord forgot all his distress by the service of the pious Nandanacharya, who sat there offering betel nuts. The Lord said, "O Nandana, listen to me. Today you should hide me here." Nandana replied, "O Lord, this is very difficult. Where can you hide within this world? You could not hide in the hearts of all living entities. The devotees exposed you even from there. How can one who could not hide in the ocean of milk hide in an open society?" After hearing these words of Nandanacharya, the Lord smiled. He passed that night in Nandana's house. The fortunate Nandanacharya spent the entire night discussing the unlimited topics of Krishna with the Lord. As they relished topics of Krishna, the entire night passed like a moment. Then the Lord saw the dawn had broken. The Lord punished Adwaita in this way, but ultimately he felt a great compassion for him. Looking at Nandanacharya, the Lord instructed him, "Go and bring Srivas Pandit alone." Nandanacharya quickly went to Srivas's house and returned to the Lord with Srivas. On seeing the Lord, Srivas Pandit began to cry out of love. The Lord said, "Do not worry." In compassion, the Lord asked him, "Tell me, how is Adwaitacharya doing?" "You are asking for more news?" Srivas asked. "Yesterday, Acharya fasted. He is surviving only because he is destined to. Please, show yourself to him and save him. If someone else had punished him, would we have tolerated it? O Lord, you alone are our life and soul. Yesterday, in lamentation, we thought that without you, O Lord, why should we maintain our lives? You have given punishment like you said you would. Now please come and show your mercy." After hearing Srivas's words, the most merciful Lord went to see Adwaitacharya. When the Lord came and found Adwaitacharya practically unconscious, he considered himself a great offender. After previously receiving the Lord's mercy, Adwaita would wander about like he was intoxicated with pride, but after being punished by the Lord, his body trembled. On seeing his condition, the merciful Lord said, "Oh, Acharya, get up and see, it is I, Vishwambar." Adwaita was ashamed to say anything. In ecstatic love, he meditated on the Lord's lotus feet. The Lord again said, "Get up, Acharya. Don't worry. Get up and perform your duties." Adwaita said, "O Lord, you inspired me to act the way I did. Whatever you are saying to me now is all an external show. You always treat me in such a way that I become proud, and as a result I suffer. O Lord, you have awarded everyone else the topmost mode of service, but you show me reverence. You should inspire me, and then you yourself inspire me, and then you punish me. You speak one thing, and think another. You are my life, wealth, body, and mind, yet still you give me misery. This is your opulence, O Lord, please. Give me the mood of service, and keep me at your lotus feet, as the son of your maidservant. On hearing the words of Advaita, Sri Gaurasundar spoke to him in front of all the Vaishnavas. Listen, O Acharya, I'm telling you the truth. Just consider this example that I'm narrating. When a royal administrator goes before the king, the guards place a request before him. And when the royal administrator meets the king and conveys the guards' request, he collects their wages and then distributes them to the guards who, along with their families, survive on that. If such a royal administrator, before whom the guards place their request, make an offense, then by the order of the king, those same guards do not hesitate to execute him. On the one hand, the royal administrator is entrusted with the responsibility of ruling the kingdom, and on the other hand, he is killed for his offense. In the same way, Krishna is the King of Kings, while Brahma and Shiva, the Creator and Annihilator, are his servants. He gives the power to create. If he awards punishment, no one can protest. Consorts like Lakshmi and personalities like Shiva also receive punishment from Krishna, yet the Lord always forgives the offense of his servants. If Krishna punishes one for his offense, then I tell you that he is the servant of Krishna birth after birth. Get up, take bath, and perform your worship. Then take your meal without anxiety. On hearing the Lord's words, Advaita became joyful. Realizing that he was punished as a servant, he laughed. Advaita exclaimed, "Now I can say, you are my Lord," and then he danced in ecstasy. When Advaita Acharya heard the Lord's words of assurance, he was overwhelmed in ecstasy and forgot the previous distress he had felt due to separation. All the Vaishnavas felt great ecstasy, and Haridas and Nityananda then began to laugh. Due to misfortune, some people are deprived of relishing the topics of these most ecstatic pastimes of the Lord's. Sri Advaita Prabhu is the recipient of Lord Chaitanya's love. Due to illusion, some people consider such opulence as insignificant. Do not think that, quote, servant implies insignificance. The Lord does not accept one as a servant if he is less fortunate. First, one attains liberation. Then his material bondage is destroyed. Then he can become the servant of Lord Krishna. Commentators on the scriptures explain that liberated souls worship Krishna, who enjoys transcendental pastimes. The servants of Krishna have the power of Krishna. If they commit any offense, Krishna punishes them. Some neophytes consider such devotees of Krishna as insignificant and constantly quarrel with them. Know for certain that they are all most sinful, therefore they do not actually support any Vaishnava. Anyone who has even the slightest doubt that Gaurachandra is the Lord of all is sinful, and his devotion is not pure. Some instruct their ass and fox-like disciples, quote, "Go and meditate on me as Ramachandra," unquote. There can be nothing superior to becoming a servant of Lord Chaitanya, who has the power to create, maintain, and annihilate. Lord Balaram supports unlimited universes, yet he is the servant of the Lord. What then to speak of ordinary persons? All glories to Lord Nityananda Haladar, by whose mercy the glories of Lord Chaitanya manifest. By his mercy, one develops attachment for Lord Chaitanya. Whatever I speak is due to his mercy. Sri Gaurasundar is the Lord of my Lord. I constantly keep this conviction in my heart, accepting Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul. I Vrindavan Das sing the glories of their lotus feet. So what was that all about? What lessons have we learned by hearing this chapter? it's the way of explaining the lesson can be, we've heard it many times, but the way that it's explained by this narration is quite fascinating. It's one of those things that comes up in Advaita Acharya's relationship with Lord Chaitanya again and again, and that is Advaita Acharya wanting Lord Chaitanya to take the superior position. And Lord Chaitanya, being young, remember his age, and Advaita Acharya being old, this is just, culturally, he naturally offers respect. Nada, or Nara, as we heard the other day from Bengali speaker, means a respectable elder. So he refers to him again and again in that manner of respect. And Lord Advaita knows who is being addressed when he speaks like that, but he doesn't like it. He likes it when that Lord Chaitanya takes the superior position. He wants to have Lord Chaitanya reveal his supremacy. He wants to literally worship him. We heard a number of times when he would fall to the ground unconscious, Advaita would have his wife come quickly and bring paraphernalia for worship and worship him. Incense and sandalwood pulp and this and that, and worship the Lord, and then he would regain consciousness, and then Lord would say, "Who's the thief? I'm not feeling ecstasy. There's a thief in here." Anyway, so they would go back and forth. So that was the ecstasy for Advaita. And then he wanted the Lord to establish his superiority. So indirectly, he did so by punishing. And in punishing Advaita, which was a way of the Lord Chaitanya showing his superiority, he left. And so Advaita was punished by feelings of separation and fasted and lamenting. And then Lord Chaitanya came back with this very puzzling metaphor of saying, essentially, you've been punished because you're the servant. And the servant may be awarded, the servant may be punished, but he's always the servant. And you want me to treat you as the servant, so I punished you, showing you that I'm accepting that you're the servant and I'm the master. No, but that's on the Leela platform, and on the Rasa platform, feelings of separation from Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya interacted with everybody in such a way that they would become attached to him, and then when he left, they were just beside themselves. It's stimulating their ecstatic love by seeming punishment, or his seeming departing from them as if angry, and nobody knew why he was angry or what happened, and one of those things. But it's a rasa stimulation pastime, and a fulfillment of Advaita Acharya's desire that the Lord accept a position of supremacy. So when he did, it was because it was in conflict with his attachment for the Lord. But it's not like the Lord was angry with him, etc., etc., etc. There's many of these kinds of next to Jagadananda Pandit, perhaps the relationship with the Advaita Acharya is most filled, abundantly replete with a puzzling kind of relationship. Nityananda is way up there too. Puzzling kind of relationship. But it's nothing but love. And therefore the statement is there, the persons that don't have faith can't follow at all what's going on. And it takes a great deal of depth to really relish the exchange of love that's going on. But those that have that, they were very appreciative of the mercy that Advaitacharya got. The whole thing. Jumping in the Ganges as if he's going to take his life. Haridas and Nityananda jump in to grab him and pull him by the hair. And then I'm going to go hide. Don't tell anybody. It's pastimes to stimulate ecstatic love. Nandanacharya, hide me. Who can hide you? Okay, go get Srivas. Srivas in ecstasy. Srivas, let's go to Advaita. How's Advaita doing? He's omniscient. It's a pastime as if he's not. So he goes to see Advaita and revives Advaita by his loving dealing. It's loving exchange after loving exchange, bringing people to the position of being incredibly attached to him and the holy name and his Sankirtan movement and all the other Vaishnavas. Had been accomplished. And now that that's been accomplished, he's interacting in very mysterious ways to further deepen their love, their feelings of love, by separation and then meeting, and by punishment and rewarding, and it's quite otherworldly. And these are primary associates of Lord Chaitanya in Navadvip. And that's what Vrindavan Das was familiar with, because he grew up in Navadvip and heard all these pastimes. And so for our pleasure, under the order of Nityananda, he's writing them all. And Gaur Purnima is over already, but we're still on Chaitanya Bhagavata, at least for the rest of this visit. Let's see if there's some discussion. Any thoughts or comments, anyone? Do we have a microphone?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So you described that Mahaprabhu, I guess in this Leela, he says that Krishna punishes his servants for offenses. How does I guess you described that only liberated souls can become servants of Krishna.
Yeah, wasn't that interesting?
Yes, Maharaj.
But it's another way of saying what's in Bhagavad Gita, that the platform of devotional service is the platform of liberation. So to enter into, you can say, are we doing devotional service or not? Because I don't really feel liberated. I don't know about you. So are we on the liberated platform or not? But devotional service is on the liberated platform, and we're invited into it's awarded to those who are liberated. It is on the liberated platform. It brings us, you could say, gradually to that liberated platform. Devotional service is on the liberated platform.
So if we say that we commit an offense, if we're on that platform, we commit an offense,
It happens.
and Krishna punishes us.
Yeah, it happens.
How do we attain his service again, or become eligible to attain his service?
By continuing, you know the answer, but by continuing the process of bhakti. Bhakti is our means of, you can say, atonement or rectification. It's our faith in bhakti. We continue. Despite having the pure bhakti blocked because of the obstacles that created by our own mistakes or offenses, we continue faithfully with the bhakti process. That's Rupa Goswami's teaching for us. What's our option anyways?
Too much.
Throw our hands up in the air and say, I quit? That's not an option. And so do nothing, and that's not an option. And do something, and you're going to make mistakes. So with faith, we continue with the bhakti process and try to avoid offenses. Because they're very serious. It's not just a scare tactic. They're very serious offense. We need mercy. We need devotional service as medium for that mercy. And we need to, these three things, and need to carefully guard against further offense.
Yes, Maharaj, thank you.
Please accept my humble obeisances. So my question is I know being a human being, right? So we do offenses knowingly and unknowingly.
I'm listening.
So, as you said now that Krishna will punish, Lord may punish us. So what about the offenses that we do unknowingly, right? There is no intention to do that, but it
I'm
happens.
listening. So what's your question?
Are we still be
Yes.
punished?
It's less culpable than knowingly.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj. I have not read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, so this is a question to understand more. What I understood is that Advaitacharya, when later on, after 24 years, after Mahaprabhu took sannyas, then when he goes to Jagannath Puri, Advaitacharya did not go there. He stayed back in Navadvipa. Is that right understanding? And
He visited, but he didn't stay permanently in Puri. He stayed in Shantipur.
And generally, when I hear about loving exchanges, I remember about the nectar of instruction, verse 4, Dadati Pratikranati, like that. So, we hear about pastimes when Lord Chaitanya performed about prasadam, bhungte bhojite, like that. And then also, I don't know if could you share something about exchange of gifts between Lord Chaitanya and Advaitacharya or other associates, Maharaj?
I can't think of any physical gift kind of gifts. There's probably some, but I can't think of any. So the giving of gifts was minimally their affection for one another, and knowing the primary, if not singular, desire, well, to Lord Chaitanya accepting him as his servant rather than treating him as his respectable superior. So sometimes Lord Chaitanya would enact pastimes that was exactly what he did. And also we hear repeatedly delivering the unfortunate sinful people. So Lord Chaitanya did like that. So it's a gift of hearing or knowing the desire of the other. So it's a gift of love, and then carrying out pastimes that are in reciprocation with that singular and primary desire. So it's not a physical gift, it's a devotional gift, a relational gift, investing in the relationship, or strengthening relationship, or reciprocating with the relationship. It's one way of thinking of a gift.
I was thinking of Lord Chaitanya garlanding devotees personally. Like, would that be a gift?
Yes.
And he gave Govardhan Shila to Raghunath Das Goswami and some beetle that he got as Mahaprasad. I can't remember the detail, but those would be some gifts.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Expression that's further, it's an expression of honorific gesture, but it's certainly a gift.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So the mood of Advaita Acharya was intimate relationship with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was having this admiration of Advaita philosophy, or impersonal. He was preaching.
It was pretense.
That was a pretense. So he was preaching that, and
because he wanted to get
chastisement. So is there really an offense that? On the surface it's a pretense, but then is there any offense that kind of affected Mahaprabhu, that there was an anger? There's nothing like that.
Transcendental so-called offense and transcendental so-called behavior for teaching others as well as for rasa purposes, stimulating of love purposes.
But from the perspective of the public who might actually misunderstand the philosophy, there was no consideration from that perspective.
No. Because everyone knew through and through that Advaita Acharya was a Vaishnava, not an impersonalist or materialist. So he was acting out of character knowingly, and others didn't take it that, in fact, that's his views. It's not like that. Not like that. It was purposeful. Online anything? No. Okay, go for it.
We know that Lord Chaitanya appearance, there are some external reasons.
There's a what?
there are some external reasons
External.
and there's some internal reasons.
Yeah.
So, the pastimes that we heard today, do they have any relevance to contributing towards the internal reason of Lord Chaitanya to enhance that mood in any way, the separation that he wanted to feel towards Krishna? Is there anything in that, in the Leela that we discussed today, Maharaj?
I'm not clear what you're asking. I hope you are. Are you saying, are the Leelas that we heard today correspond with either the external or the internal reasons for the Lord's appearance?
Are the Leelas we heard today, are they contributing towards the internal reason of Lord Chaitanya to experience a separation like that in any way? Because it's between devotees in this connection.
It's specific to Radha's love for Krishna. Ah, I terrorized you.
I'm just thinking this pastime is a little bit scary.
How so?
Because one side, we need to do the service, we want to do the service, and then
You get attached, and the next thing you know, you're going to get punished.
I mean, as a punishment is one thing, but aparad, offense, that's what it looks scary to me. Also, this pastime looks a little bit puzzling also to me.
Yeah, it's a little bit puzzling. It's very deep, but it's not exactly. But let's. Can you share what you understood about what offense was made by anybody? What was there any offense made by anybody? If so, what was it?
Actually, that part is also, I was thinking, what is the offense here? Because Advaita Acharya was trying to please Lord Chaitanya, something like that I was
So,
thinking.
in fact, there was no offense. And so, if there was no offense, what's the big deal? The big deal is Lord Chaitanya was stimulating, everyone's love, but in particular Advaita Acharya, because he gets a lot of attention towards the end. Knowing Advaita Acharya and his love, Lord Chaitanya was stimulating his love. There was no offense on anyone's part. But he was acting as if he had become angry. Earlier in the day, he heard direct vilification. That's offense. But Advaita Acharya didn't do any vilification, and there was no offense. But he acted as if there was. He was angry. Who can understand? There wasn't any offense. What was it then? He was stimulating his love. Now, stimulating his love so much he can't eat, and he's crying, and that's an ecstatic experience. Doesn't look like, it looked like something really sad, but that's part of transcendent, that's part of rasa. So if you don't want to have those kinds of feelings, don't get attached. It's, that's this Rupa Goswami verse. If, my dear Gopi friend, if you're at all attached to your family affairs, don't go to Keshigat. Because there you'll find a young boy playing upon his flute, and you completely forget all your materialistic affairs, so don't go there. Okay, we're done for this evening. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.